I just wanted to say congratulations on graduating on Saturday. You're now officially a Cyclone alum. How does it feel?
Feels great, and well, they gave me the standard diploma cover, as you can see here, and literally, I tweeted this out, and somebody said like, it's like the Dragon Warrior, the way it was blank, and it was from Kung Fu. If anybody's watched Kung Fu Panda and you read the Dragon Warrior script or whatever, that's how I felt with seeing it. But I'm like, yeah, I figured that was gonna be the case. So overall, it's still setting in. I'm unfortunate not to go find a real job, so it's a shame. And yeah, but otherwise feels good to finally graduate. I mean, it's been a long past like 4 or 5 years or so, so it just feels it's a relief. It's a relief.
I'm sure. Especially all the times that we're trying to figure out show times, and now whenever you get a real job, the shows are probably going to be at night since you're going to be
Mm-hmm.
working during the day. So yeah, I just want to say congratulations. We do have a few things to talk about, especially in the Iowa State world. Obviously, today we're going to talk about and look on ESPN and look at some of the non-con games that we find intriguing. But first, we're going to cover some ISU news. Let's talk about this Jaden Jackson situation. We thought that this whole situation was dead and gone. Apparently, it's not.
Yep. So in response, this was in response to a uh, tweet from Psychofanatic. They had tweeted that Tulane running back transfer Arnold Barnes was visiting Iowa State on Monday, so yesterday. And then it also notes that reserve running back Jaden Jackson recently left the program, and then he tweets on like on actually yet on yeah yesterday,
Yeah.
stating I didn't leave, and for and then it that got not just like I got a lot of Iowa State people talking and reading some of the replies here. It yeah obviously just going off like, and then I know here's the thing. I know this is something that's been like I would assume this is a troll, but like I saw somebody throw out the thing like, oh yeah, you were image like Jane Jackson was immature and he was partying every day, and I'm like, this is starting to. Oh no, we're not. I was like, are we doing this again with the whole? Because that's what a lot of people were like chucking around when it came to why the gymnastics program was discontinued because the athletes were out partying every night, and then now seeing it here, I didn't want to have to like state it. I'm like, okay, let's be real. We're doing this stuff again. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what grounds do you have? It's like, do you follow these? Like, do these people like follow them personally or whatever? So that's what I assume. But I don't think that's the case. But yeah, there's just a whole another thing of drama, whatever. And I mean, if we go from like one case of drama with the whole Jaden Jackson situation, speaking of the running back room, Salahuddin Outlaw is out for the season with an injury. Color me surprised. Iowa State suffers another season-ending injury.
Yeah, the good thing is though we do have reinforcements coming on the way. We did get a running back out of Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna go and peep his name. Sorry
Uh,
about
it was
that, TV.
Barnes.
Yeah,
It was who I think we were mentioning it earlier that we like it was just the context of it. Arnold Barnes.
yes,
He is committed to Iowa State. This was around earlier today. 5'10", 5'10", 220 running back ran for 757 yards and 7 career touchdowns in his 3 years at Tulane. So really just bolstering up and getting bodies in that running back room is probably what the main thing is here.
yeah. Another good depth piece for a running back room. That's good to have. That we're gonna see how this running back room develops in the fall. So we'll still see. Um, last thing we're going to talk about Iowa State wise is we're going to talk about these. We're going to talk about the comments by Jamie Pollard because these were pretty interesting.
Yep. So Jamie Pollard was obviously like he had been asked about like the big thing he was talking about here is his frustrations with the Big Ten, the SEC when it comes to the rules of the College Sports Commission and them not adhering. And the main takeaway was that he said like he would like he said basically said like to paraphrase go ahead and break away. That's basically what Jamie Pollard said. And this took place during the Cyclone Tailgate Tour yesterday.
Yeah, I was actually planning on going to that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it out. But basically, it's just what we've been talking about, like the worst case scenario, in a sense of the big brands of the Big Ten and the SEC of breaking away and forming their own thing. Um, Apparently, this had our rival fan base talking and saying that we wouldn't be a part of it and that they would, and that started just a whole bunch of discourse on Twitter between Iowa and Iowa State fans. And I mean, honestly, I look at it this way: you got to look at the main. If they were to break off, you got to know that the main players in the SEC are going. You got Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, LSU, Auburn, and then probably what Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. I mean, and then you think about like all the other big brands, like maybe Clemson, Florida State, Miami, all them, and they form to create their own thing. Or hey, maybe because I don't see a world where you're if they break away. I don't think these top tier schools are gonna want to share money with the likes of Rutgers or Northwestern or Purdue or Vanderbilt or South Carolina or uh, shoot. I mean, maybe not even like a South Carolina or something like that. Like I just don't see it. And in this sense, I guess in a way, I sort of feel for Jamie's sentiment.
Oh, are we? Is this about the CSC thing?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. Like yeah, I understand where Jamie Pollard's coming from. Obviously, it's the whole thing with like just the whole thing of whatever. But obviously, you know how everybody already feels about like how a lot of people on here feel about Jamie Pollard. So this basically just like kind of in a way just reconfirms what they already think of Pollard. But I think this is something where I think I could actually, you know, agree with him in this, in at least in this situation,
yeah, I agree.
because yeah, because it makes sense. Because it's like, yeah, at this point, the Big Ten SEC, it's its own thing, and this kind of reminds me of like how like in English football, I was just watching some Premier League. At this point in time, like people are talking about throwing around like a 20-team league. Yeah, there's basically just what you see in the Premier League, essentially. And I know what people are saying, and like people keep talking about Iowa State like not being part of the schools invited and whatever. I mean, what like thought about that? I mean, I would guess not. But really, this is for like the top of the top. So, not too many
That
fan bases can say that they are going to be invited.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I was saying, well, I was just saying, I'm like, you guys are probably aren't either. I'm like, are you? I mean, I guess you could say that they've. I mean, like, you probably said they've been one of the most consistent programs in the Big Ten, but you're not going to be one of those what 6 or 7 programs in the Big Ten that they're going to choose. They're going to choose Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. Then
Yeah,
you're gonna get the top 8 from them, and then the top 4 from the mix of the big the of the ACC, and then you're gonna get North Carolina, probably North Carolina, Miami,
would you throw Clemson in there?
Clemson, yeah, and then I don't know whoever else they choose, and that's 20 right there.
Yeah,
So like, I mean, the fact that some schools don't think that they're gonna be left off, that is just absolutely ludicrous to me.
and I mean, yeah, I think he's blunt with it. Like, yeah, and I mean, I think it's the fact that he's blunt with it too, and I'm fine with it. Like, and I'm okay with it. And I'm just reading like it's just as a whole, this whole thing all continue with like college athletics and whatever. It's gotten ridiculous, and all these like these people in suits and whatnot. They're They're not doing anything. At the end of the day, this is not like I don't care what fan base you are. Unless you're like the top fan base, you're not going to benefit from it. And I'm speaking to a bunch of Iowa fans who are acting like that they are going to be in it. Listen, you eventually are going to get your judgment day. I know ours is sooner than yours, so enjoy while it lasts, but your judgment day is coming unless you start winning these titles like the Ohio States, like
Which they won't.
Yep, like the Michigans. But I mean, hey, listen. If you're okay with settling for being like for being a middle of the pack Big Ten team, at least you had that money. Good for you, I guess. You're okay settling for that. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yep.
But go ahead, be happy and keep crapping all over us, Iowa State, because God forbid we don't have as much money as like these other schools or whatever. Cool. You're gonna join us in the dump one day.
Right, exactly.
And the thing is, like, this is where I think some fans appreciate Pollard. He's going to state what a lot of others are already thinking, and I think that's just what it is.
He's just not
like,
afraid to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, if the Big Ten SEC wants to create this Premier League style system, then cool, whatever, that's fine. But we're never going to have that promotion relegation like type of deal. Because no school wants to ever deal with that.
Well, and that's the thing. It's also not going to be like how the big teams in the English Premier League and in La Liga were going against that because they wanted to play their own teams because everybody in America here is selfish like that. So they're going to be like, well, more for us. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't like the way that this is headed, but hey, if they do,
this has been going on like for 40 years since like the TV deal. Since individual schools started negotiating their TV deals. This has been coming. This has been a long time, but we just kept continuing to kick it down the bucket.
Yeah, I mean, and this is sort of on the NCAA when they could have paid players in the '90s, and they decided to go against that, and so, I mean, they made their own bed. But honestly, if those two break off and rest of college football is like that and play whoever's left, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah. It is just silly that I'm like I'm reading like the Iowa fans thinking about like I mean they're like I guess if you were to do that, who in like the Big Ten, like let's say hypothetically this actually happens, right? Who in the like obviously we probably know the SEC top dogs at Alabama, Georgia. You can make an argument for LSU or Texas.
LSU, Texas, Oklahoma, Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You could chuck him in there.
Probably. I'm trying to think. Oh, Ole Miss. But so that would be like nine right there. Big Ten would be Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State,
Oregon,
Washington, USC, and UCLA.
UCLA, yeah. Because that's interesting. And then like that second tier, I think with what I think too with the Penn State, like Penn State, USC. I guess if you're looking at current success and things like that, like current success, I think you might have to limit the Big Ten a little bit, considering like the names. Well, maybe this is just me like just being as casual of a fan, like or whatever. But I mean, yeah, if you look at the Big Ten, the names that speak out: Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, USC, and I don't know, Nebraska, maybe not. You wouldn't put them in there. They could have an argument, but they haven't done anything in the Big Ten, so I personally wouldn't.
They probably. Oh yeah, I forgot about Nebraska, but that's how relevant that they've been, and things. But they're probably just going to be looking at brands too. So if we're doing it based on brand, that's why I said UCLA, and then you could add Nebraska to that too. So and then for three, you take three from the ACC. You take Miami, Clemson, and
Florida State. Yep.
So that's 20 something right there.
Yeah, so that's already 20. But I think people like, what was it? What was the actual number? I don't remember people throwing out the number of like 30, 40, because I'm trying to remember what that number was, because people keep throwing out the names of how many like teams like are going in.
Oh, I've heard 20. I've heard 32. Like, I don't know who else you would add. Like, I guess like
Yeah, and
if they were going off of like the 60 team model, if they're going off of, because I heard the 68 team model, the 30 something team model. If it was a 68 team model, then Iowa State would definitely be in.
yeah,
But
I know. Obviously, yeah, yeah. I think people are gonna say, "Oh, Iowa State, haha, you have no team." Here's the thing: we've been one of the best. Like our numbers speak for themselves. People watch Iowa State, and now obviously it's gonna be a little different with football, but in basketball wise, TJ Otzelberger is bringing like he's got two guys right now that are in the draft lottery that can potentially that are in the draft combine that could be drafted to the NBA. I mean, you have one guy who's an Mr. All Around type of player, and you have the other guy who literally shot 50% from three last season.
and I saw a fun mock draft where Milan in the second round was drafted to the Bulls. I'm like, oh snap.
You would be dreaming of that, yeah. And I know that, like, and this thing maybe can lead right into our next segment because I think we've spoken like about right now with the whole Pollard thing, and like that's a rabbit hole we can explore. But now, like speaking of like basketball, TJ Otzelberger was actually so he was asked about like all the like the people that he brought in and how to like maintain the basketball team essentially. So TJ Otzelberger had this when he was talking about the five transfers that he brought in. So when he was talking about Leon Bond, obviously he obviously mentions coming from Northern Iowa, like he came from Northern Iowa, so they already are familiar with that. With that
Yeah,
spot, considering they got a certain Nate Heisey, but I digress. Um, he quotes as calling Leon Bond an extremely athletic guard that could play multiple positions. He could be an extremely disruptive defensive player and generate a lot of turnovers. So I mean, that's if you're looking for to be in TJ's system, that's kind of what you got to do. And I think Leon Bond will fit right in.
yeah, oh for sure,
Yep,
definitely.
and then on Jaquan Johnson, he basically like he mentioned Taman Lipsey in this one. It said you're never going to replace Taman Lipsey as I mean he quoted Taman Lipsey as a one for one player, and that's correct. But he does bring up Jaquan Johnson winning the Missouri Valley Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and he is also one of the top steals guys in the country, and he can also knock down shots. So, I mean, Jaquan Johnson is about as close as you can get to Taman Lipsey without literally cloning Taman Lipsey.
Right.
And then on Ryan Prather Jr., quotes him saying he led the nation in assist to turnover ratios, which is really good. I think that's something that's going to be really helpful here. He's also a really good 3-point shooter, and he's got size and strength, which I think was Iowa State was missing in the tournament when they lost to Tennessee, and obviously losing Joshua Jefferson. They lost size and strength, and I think that's what we're going for here. Trey Singleton, he really looked at Josh. Basically said like so. Basically, like Trey Singleton's kind of the guy that TJ wants to develop, kind of like Joshua Jefferson, and I think we've mentioned that before. So that is something to look out for. So he's got obviously he started it as a freshman in the Big Ten. So I mean, whatever school you go to, I mean that's still a pretty good thing. And then Taj Manning was someone that TJ like Iowa State actually recruited out of high school in the same class as Taman Lipsey, oddly enough. So I'm pretty sure they're familiar with him. And he's a tremendous rebounder and offensively. He looks to see Taj Manning expand his game offensively and guard multiple positions, and even look to him knocking down a three.
Yeah. So, it's excellent analysis by you there. But yeah, really really excited to see what comes of this upcoming year for basketball.
Yep. So basketball, and I mean, we talk about basketball being real quick. Probably highlight some of the non-con matchups like they did get announced. It was to 24/7 Sports. Well, unfortunately, I'm up as a college student. I'm broke, so I unfortunately cannot pay for that. But they did have an article there talking about like all the confirmed non-con opponents in basketball. So if you want to go there, it's 24/7 Sports. This was reported by Henry Annan, who is a guy that I actually met at Iowa State, so he's done some great reporting. He recently moved over to 24/7 Sports, so he's going to do some great reporting there. So support him. But talking about non-con, we mentioned non-con football, and obviously we've seen the schedule. We already know what to like to kind of like know who we're playing. But I mean, obviously, first year in the new era. Why not take a look at some of these games and see what Iowa State could show in this new era?
Yeah. Let's go take a look at that. We're going to take a look at Iowa State's non-con schedule real quick.
So in the non-con schedule, Iowa State, you're obviously gonna have the game against Iowa, which everybody's looking forward to. That's probably going to be the kind of the measuring the stick where you measure yourself to see where you're at in this rebuild. But there are some games here too that obviously in September that are going to be important for fans to really feel confident about this team. Your first matchup for Iowa State will be against Simo, who is a opponent that we are kind of familiar with because we've seen them in the past couple of years. But obviously, I mean, what do you even expect out of these like non-con games outside of Iowa?
Um, I think the first game against Simo, I think that's where you really see what this offense is going to be. Like, this is where you basically try to work out kinks and stuff right before you start your conference play. Because, like, this is usually where these games are where, like, you see who separates themselves on the roster, who
Mm-hmm.
does what. And Um, then you get a sense of what your roster looks like. Um, so I think in this SEMO game, we're gonna see and have a feel of what the Tyler Rowe offense is gonna be like. What Rainer's gonna be looking like, what the receiver room is gonna look like, how what we should expect from the running back room. Defensively, it's gonna really look and see how the four-man front is able to get pressure in the secondary and all that. So I think like for non-con games, just in general, I think this is a part to see where how you can look going into and fix things going into the conference season.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, yeah, obviously this is like everybody's first real opportunity. So I'm hoping like what Iowa State does, like we really like emphasize like I really like this is me personally. I hope we like go balls to the wall in terms of like how we like promote the stuff, all the game day stuff, like all the game day experiences. And I'm curious to see like do we keep some of the stuff from the previous like regime, like keeping the foot like the entrance or whatever. But I wonder if they throw in some new kinks because maybe Jimmy Rogers gets some say in terms of what he want for the like for the game day experience.
Well, apparently he hasn't really given like the song thought. He said just come out to the yeah, like Jimmy Rogers honestly like is a football guy.
Yeah,
So he said just like the fight song. So I don't know
yeah,
what they're gonna do. That's probably just gonna be a thing where when it comes close, they're probably that's gonna be like a team vote or whatever.
yeah,
Um, but I got to think that most of the stuff is gonna stay the same because it seems just
yeah.
like what I've seen from Jimmy Rogers in interviews is that he's been pretty transparent with everything that he's said.
Hmm.
So like I mean I I gotta think that it's probably most of the stuff is probably gonna be the same.
Yeah. All right, so none too great. All right, fair enough. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. And again, you're not really doing too much here, but yeah. So I mean, and then we'll have another non-con game against Bowling Green. Now I know, I think this one there were some people talking that maybe like was this the one we were considering maybe like buying out because of all the talks of like maybe swapping it for another non-con game.
We were talking about swapping this out in 2027 because we go
Okay.
there in 2027.
Hmm.
Because it literally doesn't make sense why we have to go to a MAC school for a week a week. It's it was like with us going to Arkansas State last year. It doesn't make any sense why we have to go to
Hmm.
Pilot to a group of six schools for away games.
Yeah, it was kind of it felt like a bit of a lose lose, if you will.
Yeah.
And obviously we experienced the other end of the stick a couple years ago. Don't need to mention the name of it, but I mean, yeah, I would like we talk about like shopping this out in 2027. Say we do shop this out. What would be a team that you want Iowa State to play in 2027 if we were able to shop this out?
I mean, I honestly would want either another Big Ten team or maybe like a ACC team. And the ACC team I was thinking about is Louisville.
Hmm.
'Cause that one is pretty close. So I was thinking that maybe like a Louisville or a Pitt, and then I was thinking maybe Big Ten, and I for some reason I've always wanted to have a home and home with either Illinois or Wisconsin.
Hmm.
I'd love to like have one with Wisconsin to go to Camp Randall and then have them
Oh
come
yeah.
from the Jack Trice.
I think that would be pretty. Yeah, I think I could see that. One that I think maybe I would love to see too is Minnesota.
Yeah, I'd love to play Minnesota.
Yep, because I think both teams are in pretty similar spots in their respective conferences. They kind of like. I mean, with Minnesota, like they haven't really done much. I know they did stuff in the '60s, but it's been long. It's been decades since, and they've just find themselves like kind of this middle of the pack. Usually isn't going to go anywhere higher than like 6-6 or 7-5 usually. And I mean that's kind of where maybe I have like Iowa State at least on the 6-6 end. So kind of two teams in pretty like equivalent standings in terms of
Yeah.
where they fall in the pecking order. So and obviously the Jack Trice lore for those who understand the lore, I think that could play a bit of a factor into it.
Also, can we just talk about just like the at least just for now the media Big 12 media polls right at least right now they have us right now at 16th, and I think it's just because like nobody knows like what this team is like. This team is so new, but
Yeah.
I do think that the steadiness of the quarterback position, I think is gonna help. I think Jaylen Rainer, we've seen what type of guy that he has, and I think we're gonna with the lack of having a number one running back, I think we're gonna be using his legs a lot
Yeah.
here, especially in
Hmm.
certain situations when it's like third down and we need a first down, and who knows if we're gonna have any reliable receiving options. I think those are gonna present themselves during the season, but
Hmm.
I think you'll be able to use his legs for like third and short, and then you can go and scramble for a first down. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're all like. I think a lot of us are expecting at least for like at least these first few games, Jalen Rayner's gonna have like a lot to like a lot of rain to really like get familiar and get comfortable in this offense, like in this like offense, and obviously adjusting to a higher level of football. Because I mean, the game that he's gonna get the biggest spotlight on early on in the year is gonna be at Iowa. How does Jalen Rayner handle Kinnick Stadium?
that I think that's gonna be the story. I think I honestly that's it's just like how is he gonna do that? 'Cause I don't know if he's been in a like a place like that. Obviously, he came to
Yeah,
Iowa State in what 20 was in 2024,
yeah, 24.
but
Yeah,
like Kinnick and like Big Ten
and in
atmosphere.
and in the context of the game, which is a rivalry, because obviously Rayner at Arkansas State came in like, and that was a blowout. But I mean, that was just one of those like non-con like cupcake games, if you will. But you have to add context of it being a rivalry game and it being like one of your your first big test, literally
Yeah,
being at Kinnick in Cyhawk. Like they
yeah,
don't. I think Jalen Rayner. I think he quickly understands. I think he's gonna understand if he doesn't already, which I assume he does, just how big this game is for the state of Iowa.
yeah. I mean, the fact that the way that he endeared himself to the fan base when he brought like pizza to Cyclone Alley during the basketball games and being able to like know everyone's name. I did a little
Yep.
piece on for BYU, and that was something I said in my little 1 to 2 minute snippet of talking about Jalen Raynor. Him being able to have those leadership qualities, and I think him being pretty smart with the football. I think if he's good with those, because obviously you know the turnover margin. The turnover margin is a huge thing in the Iowa game.
Yep, and that's a
Iowa
part of
plays,
Iowa's defensive philosophy.
yeah,
They
and
force you.
Iowa plays a
They
first
want you
and
to make a
second.
mistake. As soon as
Yeah,
you make a mistake, they're going to capitalize. So
exactly.
that's gonna really test to see if he has developed like a better like caring for the football. And I mean, no, like, and we're like, this is like, and at least for Iowa fans, they want to get back at us, obviously, for losing in the last 2 years to Kyle Conradi. That's eating at them. Some of them will say it doesn't eat at them. Some of them will say that whether it's trolling or not. So you decide, but somewhere in the back of their heads that those two losses are eating them up.
Well, think about it, Cody. They haven't won this game at home since 2018. So it's been a minute since they've seen a win over Iowa State at Kinnick.
Yes. Yeah, we did. Yep. And we got to break ours first. I mean, even though our streak of losing at home was longer, we broke ours first. So, that's an extra thing to rub at them. So, now that I'm obviously like a non-student, this is gonna be interesting to see how I'm like watching we watching this rivalry from the outside and getting to see all these students do things. I'm like, I was like you, I did these things, and luckily for me, so I guess technically in my career, let's see. Oh yeah, technically in my career, I've never witnessed. Well, I guess technically in my career, I'm undefeated versus Iowa.
That's true. That's true.
3-0 with one no contest.
So for me,
At least,
oh, go ahead.
that's in the record books. I know obviously I went to the game in 23, but yeah, in the record books, I can put it down as 3-0 with no contest, with one no contest.
There you
There we go.
Even though I went for 1 year, I still consider myself a Cyclone. So three
Yeah.
and one, we went 3-1. These were Paul Rhodes teams. We went 3-1 against Iowa.
That's always the weird thing when it like you ask somebody about Paul Rhodes, how bad of a coach he was. He somehow found a way to beat Iowa.
I think it was more of like there were a lot of missed opportunities, and I think their recruiting philosophy was a little bit wonky because they didn't really go for any of the in-state kids, and they had an obsession with Florida and Texas kids, so they didn't really recruit the state of Iowa. So
Yeah, so I guess now that you had coaches who built a Midwest like foundation, and I know
yeah,
Jimmy Rogers is probably going to continue doing that because he is a
oh yeah,
Midwest guy coming from South Dakota State. I think that's going to be huge. Like, so you can gain some ground on other Midwest programs like Iowa, like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. Mi- That's going to be huge. I think that'll be huge. And who knows?
and then just like game philosophy wise, I don't know if you ever have gone and watched the highlights of the 2016 North Dakota State Iowa game.
Oh,
I think if you watch that game, I think that we're gonna probably run something similar to a type of offense like that against Iowa that like keeps them guessing. Like
yep.
yes, I know Tyler Rowe's gonna want to be physical, but I think they're gonna be throwing the ball to tight ends and stuff. So I think yes, we're gonna. I don't. We'll be run heavy. I don't think we're gonna be as run heavy like as those Campbell teams that thought that they could do the same thing against Iowa. I think there's gonna be some passes mixed in there as well.
Oh god, you're bringing some bad memories of every time. Like, remember it was like, oh, did you ever do the drinking game? Every time we ran it up the middle after gaining a first down and getting like 1 to 2 yards or losing yards.
Bro, trust me, kid. It was funny
Oh,
because going into the 2024 season, that or was it the 2024? No, it was this time around last year when I was interviewing Mauser. I was talking to him about the same thing about how in the 2024 season we opened with that deep pass down the field. We were like, dude, all the fans thought that we were just gonna run it up the middle. So
mm-hmm.
like I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I bet you the first thing's gonna be a run, especially with this. I'm interested to see what Tyler Rowe's philosophy is, because I look at that type of because they're gonna be running a pro style offense. So obviously it's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be any spread them out type of ball that we did with Mouse. So it's going to be interesting to sort of get used to that again. So we're going to see a lot more pro concepts, so a lot more play action, and seeing Jaylen Rainer under center since he's trying to be a guy that can go to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One last thing I wanted to go and look at is I wanted to go and look at some of the games nationally for the non-con season because if we go week by week, as you go into the season, there are some bangers. So
Yep.
let's go and look at just the college football season as a whole and look at some of the matchups this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And I mean, you kick off the season once again in Ireland. This time it's going to be TCU versus North Carolina. That's going to be so. This is obviously a rematch of Bill Belichick's first game. which was an infamous one where I think for about like 5 minutes or so, North Carolina fans were hyped, and then they got the doors blown off of them.
Yeah, it was like what 48-14 or something like that.
Something like that. Yep. So I mean that's your week 0. So nothing really too crazy there.
And then you have one notable game is you see Jacksonville State and North Dakota State. This one is very very interesting because North Dakota State, if you guys didn't know or if you've been living under a rock, has now moved up to the FBS level as now a part of the new Mountain West. So they are now a part of the FBS and facing Jacksonville State. Sacramento State moved up last year and they're a part of the MAC. Also fun fact they have a rivalry game with Ball State for the Ball Sack Trophy. Like,
Yes.
can't like this is why we love college football, man.
Yes. You know
And
what?
then you got at 2:30 after the North Carolina TCU game, we have a conference game in week 0, NC State and Virginia in Rio. So that's going to be interesting. 2 international games. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, imagine getting to say that you get to play a football game in Brazil. Like we know, but this is starting to like be like the NFL thing, and I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I'll give it a shot. We'll see how this looks, and if I like it, great. If not, then But I'm curious about this experiment.
Honestly, you really should have went last year. It was so much fun. That game in Dublin was awesome.
Yeah. Again, you remember I was a broke college student. I know I just got off in this shit, but like I know I would have definitely loved to go. But luckily, I had a friend who went there because he was a part of the journalism
Yeah.
teams. Like he was there, and then so he got to have a lot of fun. But going to Thursday, so that was your Saturday, August 29th. So that's gonna start off the college football season. Then on Thursdays, your first one of the college football season. Colorado heads to Atlanta, Georgia to take on Georgia Tech. That's the marquee matchup I'm looking at. But you do have some Big 12 teams with UCF and Utah hosting week 1 games respectively on that Thursday. Then on Friday, you have another ACC in-conference matchup with Miami heading out west to take on Stanford. And then the first full Saturday of college football. This is going to be a beautiful holiday. Look at Florida hosting Florida Atlantic, so your Gators you can see your first look at them for the year.
Yep.
You've also, yep. Let's see here, just going down the list. Tulane heads to Durham to take on Duke. I'm curious about that one. I mean, I'm just interested to see that one. And then North Texas heads to the defending national champion, the Indiana Hoosiers. Really curious to see how North Texas looks. Post Eric Morris era when they went on that crazy like 11-1 run, which I think which was one of the best mid-major teams.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got, let's see here. Yeah. Speaking of ball, we get to our first look at the Matt Campbell-led Penn State Nittany Lions when they host Marshall.
Go Marshall.
Yep. Might as well. Take a look here.
Oh, we get the Apple Cup week 1?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. That
I'll
one
take
might be the game of the week right there. Oh,
I'll take
we have Boise State and Oregon, too.
Ooh. I'm excited. Yeah, that's one. And then I think I got my other team for just to celebrate. The Hawaii Rainbow Warriors will be hosting UNLV.
Ooh, that one will be interesting.
Yep, so that's gotta probably be my other team for the year because I'm like, you know what, Hawaii, they cool, like, love what they got going on over there, so cheering for them. And then you've got the ABC triple header as Alabama hosts East Carolina at 11 a.m. Central Time, followed by Baylor versus Auburn in Atlanta, Georgia, and then in Tiger Stadium in Louisiana, the LSU Tigers will be hosting the Clemson Tigers at 6:30. So
That one's going to be a dandy. We'll get to
mhm.
see who the real Death Valley is again.
Yep. And then on Sunday, you have Wisconsin versus Notre Dame at Lambeau Field. So, I mean, that's certainly going to be packed. I mean, that might actually be a home game for Wisconsin.
It is. Everybody loves
Yep.
the Badgers.
Yep. And then Ole Miss in Nissan Stadium, you'll have Ole Miss against Louisville.
Interesting. This one's going to be a fun matchup.
Yep.
Ole Miss. I believe that Trinidad Chambliss was able to get his 6 years
I
eligibility.
I think so. I think there was a ruling. I would have to look back, but like it's either that or like the judge denied like his appeal to get a 6th year, or it's something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
By the way, Trinidad Chambliss, respectfully, go get a job like me.
Yeah, get a job. And then can we talk about how spiritually Wisconsin Notre Dame is basically Bears Packers?
I, 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 I could see it, but I'm curious how do the Bears fit in as being Notre Dame?
Because they're Chicago's college football team. Because everybody that's like a Catholic in Chicago loves Notre Dame.
Fair enough. Yep, I guess that does make sense. And then knowing Green Bay and Wisconsin, they can drink up the wooza and still wake up early in the morning on Monday to go to work.
Exactly.
And then on Monday, SMU at Florida State on at 6:30. Florida State. I mean, where do we even go with you?
I don't even know what they're even going to be this year, but I know that what's his name is going to be on the hot. Their coach is going to be on the hot seat.
Yep, Mike Norvell.
Mike Norvell, yeah.
But that big what was that? That big contract, or whatever, is kind of handicapping them. But so there's that. Week 2. Really, I think this is now you're starting to see me like some of these like not like Rutgers to Boston College to sleeper. Saturday, this is probably the big one. Some SEC schools do start conference play with Alabama heading to Kentucky, but you do have Mississippi State traveling up to Minneapolis to take on Minnesota, which is not a matchup I would expect, but okay. And then you've got the border war between Mizzou and Kansas. I know how that's going to go down. That's going to literally just be like a war all over Twitter and like all over. And then Oklahoma at the Big House to take on Michigan. Tennessee taking on Georgia Tech at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Arizona State at Texas A&M. So Arizona State hoping to pick up a big win to kind of redeem themselves after losing to Mississippi State the previous year. Washington State heads to Bill Snyder Stadium to take on Kansas State. Oregon will head to Boone Pickett Stadium to take on a new look Oklahoma State. Texas Tech heads out to Corvallis to take on Oregon State. Then you've got obviously our game, Iowa State at Iowa, so everyone's gonna be locked in here, at least here in the state of Iowa. UCF will head up to Pittsburgh to take on Pitt. Duke at Illinois, so we went from the hardwood to the gridiron with this one.
The John Shire Bowl.
John Shire Bowl. I don't even.
Story behind why I called it the John Shire Bowl. John Shire is from the Chicagoland area. He was supposed to go to Illinois, but Coach K came and grabbed him, and he went to Duke.
Fair enough. All right then. Let's see. We continue the season hate watch with Penn State heading to Temple, and that's going to be at Philly.
That's a link.
Yep. Let's see. If he hits North Texas, going down the list, and yeah, and then the big one, Ohio State at Texas at 6:30 on ABC.
And then also we have a conference match of Arizona BYU, but we talked about that. Maryland UConn probably will be a decent game. Otherwise, there's not really any other games. I guess you could say Memphis Boise State. But yeah, this week
probably like a lot of like American probably mid-major conference play starts. So keep an eye on that. But then you get to week 3, you do start to see some more conference play, at least for the SEC. But on Thursday, you get some ACC Thursday and Friday, actually, you got ACC conference play. Syracuse heads to Pitt, and Miami heads to Wake Forest. Then on Saturday, Alabama will be looking to get revenge of Florida State in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Yeah, that's true. They are looking for revenge since Florida State lost at Doak Campbell last year in Week 1. Georgia heads to Fayetteville, and Florida plays Auburn for the first time, I believe, since 2019.
That's interesting.
Yeah, the way the SEC does their scheduling, you might not play a team for like 6 years.
Not fair. Yeah. Okay. Then continuing conference play, Kentucky heads to Kyle Field to take on Texas A&M.
Interesting.
Yep. So I think some of these non-con matches, at least for the Big 12, you already mentioned, like Tulane and Kansas State. So, and then I think we've already mentioned West Virginia and Virginia on the previous show. Houston at Texas Tech, I think we talked about before, but I mean, I'm really curious to see how this one looks, because Houston obviously was on the up and up, and Texas Tech being the king of the Big 12. I mean, that was a not so competitive game, but I wonder if Houston will bring some competitiveness this coming up season to Lubbock.
I think they will. I think Houston will be a much better team. I think their offense will be a whole lot better. Their defense was absolutely awesome, but their offense will take a step with
Yep.
Connor.
Connor Wigman.
Connor Wakeman, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then here's an old flash. Here's an old game for you. Michigan State, Notre Dame.
What?
I remember. Yeah. This is a game in week 3 in South Bend.
Playing each other again?
Yep.
Wow.
It has been how many years was it since that iconic fake field goal for the touchdown in overtime? Because that's the thing. That's the one moment I always remember when I think of those two teams.
Man, that was 2010, 2011. It's been like 15 years since they've played, man.
Oh.
Wow.
I mean, they're obviously in two different they're in two different spots, but you know what? I'll take this. I can take this. We'll see how that one turns out.
Yeah. And then there's some other games. We have obviously we talked about Colorado coming into Evanston to play Northwestern. Stanford versus Duke. That's going to be interesting. Let's see what else we got on here. USC going to the East Coast to play Rutgers. Oh, UNI is playing Iowa at Kinnick?
Yep. I think I remember that. So, I mean, it's gonna be probably like, at least for Northern Iowa fans who grew up Hawkeye fans, that's gonna probably be a conflict of interest.
Well, it depends on if Iowa's coming off a win or if Iowa's coming off a loss to them.
Yep. I hope it's the latter. I honestly hope it's the latter.
I hope it's the latter, but yeah.
Yeah. I hope it's the latter, but it's not just in the latter, but I hope it's us once again breaking their hearts and Kyle Karate hitting another field goal for a buzzer beater, and once again we rip the trophy right out of their hands or something like that.
And keep it in Ames.
Yeah, we're taking it right back with us.
And then probably the game of the weekend, LSU goes into Hotty Toddy to play Ole Miss and the Grove, and all the shots that they've been taking at each other this entire preseason. That one is going to be going to be toxic as hell.
Oh yeah, it's also the homecoming of Lane Kiffin.
Oh, that is gonna be
I'm tuning in just for the pregame antics. That's all I'm tuning into. I just want to tune into the pregame antics. And then I think a lot of these two are now pretty much like conference play, I would say, for the most part. So I think, so most of these are conference play. So I think we could stop it here for right now.
Sure. Yeah. So obviously we looked at the first 4 weeks. Those are pretty jam-packed. But we thank you guys for tuning in to the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. A big host, thank you to our sponsor FanDuel. Bet on baseball right now. Man, like You want to talk about a crazy series? My Chicago White Sox took 2 of 3 from one of the best teams in the league, the Chicago Cubs. And even though we lost, the Cubs got belt to ass put to them by the Milwaukee Brewers. I know
Yep.
you guys dropped one. I know you guys are currently losing. I think 4-3 to the.
No, we're tied. No, we tied it.
Oh, you tied it. Okay.
Yep. Michael
Well, yes.
Harris, homer whooped. Yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, the less said about that, the better. We just could not like get it. Like the Marlins just scored all over us that day. I don't know what it was, but you
Yeah.
know what? That's baseball. That's gonna happen. But right now we're tied 4-4, and I'm like, we're probably gonna trip at some point, which I'm not surprised about. This is a long baseball season, and I mean they're gonna cool down. Philly fans are really thinking that they are like not too far behind us. But I'm like, let's be real. It would have to take a like another generational choke, like I know Atlanta is known for doing sometimes. But even then, Philly, like y'all, they got off light because the Red Sox. They had like the Red Sox. I mean, the Pirates are good. The Rockies, we know about them. The A's, the Marlins. Well, we had to go up against the Dodgers and the Cubs, and we still won those series. So give us a break. But whatever, Philly fans, you still haven't won a World Series since '08, and I don't want to hear about we beat you guys in the playoffs. Yeah, but what you do in the next round, you choked in it, anyways.
You didn't do a thing. Um, yeah, I think the next 16 games the White Sox have are against non-winning teams, so we'll see how they do. And if they come out of that um, unscathed, then we have a really, really big stretch against winning teams. So I'm along for the ride, to be
Yep.
honest.
And for me,
Um,
we've got still got the Marlins, and then we got the Nationals, the Red Sox, and the Reds. So try to get back on our feet a little bit and really just try to sustain at least a little bit more winning. So we'll see where we go from here, but we're still the best team in Major League Baseball, and we're still winning the World Series.
there you go. All right. If you want to follow Cody on Twitter, follow him Tia Propaganda.
I honestly don't know what I'm gonna do now that I'm like now I'm a student. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. We'll see what happens.
He's probably just going to be Cody Van and then follow me on Twitter at SciTieGuy1992. Also, follow us on social media Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. For Tyler Carter,
And for Cody Van,
this is the Bleav in Iowa State podcast. Roll clones, baby.
go Cyclones.